Good morning. It is April the 18th, 2018. Time to kick off another trading day. Hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations, unlike an actual performance record. Simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under or overcompensated for the impact of any of certain market factors, such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact they're designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representations being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. Well, equities around the globe are higher. Treasuries are sideways. We had glimpses of the inverse relationship yesterday, but really the treasuries and indexes have kind of separated. Both markets rallied yesterday. Late in the session when the Emini was making new highs, we did get some selling in treasuries, but not a lot. As you can see with the close way up here, and we drifted back down to that level. Definitely dealing with a B yesterday, a B. In the overnight, we have not taken out volume down here at 2010. If we can build volume below 2010, then the short has a chance to develop. No news overnight to speak of. No news scheduled for today. It is earnings season. That's where the focus is. There was a good article out on China and the automobile industry last night talking about how China was letting go of forced Chinese ownership and technology transfers in the automobile industry, and that depending on who you are and where you were in the process, that by 2030 the automobile industry would have ownership as it deemed fit, making the automobiles and stuff that they wanted. So China, over the next 12 years, has opened up their automobile industry to worldwide competition. Why would they do that? They probably feel like they can compete with anybody right now. But, you know, when you look at the trade talks with China, other than the headlines about the trade war, and both countries are being very selective about what they pick out and nail the other country for with tariffs, is that progress is being made. Found out that Mike Pompeo was in talks with Kim Jong-un, if that's how you pronounce his name, over the weekend, setting up the upcoming meeting between South Korea, North Korea, and the U.S. With Trump. Who would have thought that we would be at the table negotiating nukes with North Korea, the end of it, and North Korea said that they could give up their nukes. Yesterday there was an announcement from South Korea that South Korea and North Korea were in talks to end their 67-year war, and the South Korean president gave the credit where the credit is due to Trump. So there's a lot of good things going on beneath the surface that we don't get to read about. We get to read about any and every kind of supposed actual screw up by Trump and made up screw ups by Trump. That's all that's in our press. But the economy is growing. Jobs are at all-time high. I mean, there's just a lot of good stuff going on beneath the surface, including foreign affairs. My guess is that the attack on Syria was not so much an attack on Syria as a warning to North Korea and Iran, Hezbollah, Iran's surrogates in Syria, that hey, we mean what we say, and if you do something that we've told you not to do, you're going to get hit. And that too can help with the negotiating process, as you've seen with North Korea. So what does that mean for treasuries? The yield curve is coming down. Bad news sells. Recession is on its way. It's hard to see a recession in 2018 just off of corporate tax cuts. Equities up. Should at least hold us in a trading range. I like the short side best, so we're going to try 15s to 19s, sell 1. 23, 29, sell 2. On the buy side, I'm going to make it 5 to 9, buy 1. Let it come down and get stops below yesterday's lows. Then 29 to 01 for buy 2. And we'll see if that works. But there's some really good things happening for our country and for the West and for civilization right now, and we just don't get to read about it in our press. It's the never-ending quest to bring Trump down. The next generation of journalists who will get accolades and can rest on their laurels till they decide to hang up their typewriters, if they can bring Trump down. So that's what the goal is, and they all are working on it feverishly. Can't believe what they write. First time it comes out, have to wait a couple of 3 days to see what actually is true or not. Okay, 20 to 24, number 1 on the bond, 27.31, sell 1. 3 to 7, sell 2. On the buy side, 8 to 12, number 1. Buy 1 to 5. Basically against the buck. Buy 21 to 25 for buy 2. With no news, trading range down bias, and if you look at yesterday's action, it's definitely a B. If you look at the overnight, the Globex action, definitely a B as far as volume is concerned, and it's volume that moves the market. So we'll see if that we can break the Globex low and go lower. I do like the short side first, though. Gold held its own overnight and I believe was up. If I can find it. There it is. So 54, 56, that is resistance number 1. 59.62 is sell 2. Market is rallying, showing signs of strength. The breakout came from 50, so 48 to 50 by 1. And 44, 46 by 2. Just leaning against current resistance. I think the trading range in gold has stepped higher. We were getting buyers at 15 to 25. Probably 25 to 35 now is support. Looking at the euro, if you can trade European time, Frankfurt, Paris, London, it is a fabulous contract. We've got a seller at 24.50. We got a buyer at 24, so the range is compressing. So 45.55, sell 1. 70 to 80, sell 2. We're just leaning against resistance. No magic in that. On the buy side, 15 to 25, buy 1. 124 even, buy 2. So we want to sell 50s or better. We want to buy against the buck. I sure wish they would make income tax payment day the day of the election. The first Tuesday in November. That would certainly curtail some of this just unbelievable spending that goes on in D.C. And the Republican Party, quote unquote, the party of fiscal responsibility, is where the huge increases in deficits come from. Look at what they allowed Obama to do. Look at what they happily participated in with Bush and Obama. They've added $15 trillion to the national debt. And then you have the Democrats, the party of peace and love, that get us into wars right and left because they basically have an appeasement philosophy. Okay, everything is pointed higher right now, so why not? 67.75 to 68, then 68 and a quarter, 68.52. Saudi Arabia started it last week, $80 oil. They need, for the Aramco IPO to go through, they need $70 oil to make the numbers work. The IEA and others have said that the supply now is in balance with demand. Venezuelan crude oil is in a decline, and that's not going to turn around anytime soon. Even if you're China, and Russia couldn't do it, where you can go in there and you'll prop up the current Venezuelan government for ownership in their oil fields. It won't happen quickly, and I'm not too sure the Chinese petroleum industry has the expertise, etc., to pull it off. But be that as it may, we will find out. So that we've talked about it for the last 6 months, that Venezuela is OPEC's whole card. They're the ones that were the OPEC members don't have to cut their production because Venezuela is losing production. Okay, buy one 67, 67 and a quarter, and then buy two is 66.50, 66.75. Last night in the APIs, crude drew 1.1 million barrels. Gasoline drew 2.5. Yeah, they're expecting draws in products. We're getting, but you can have bills because we're headed into driving season, and the industry usually April or May you can see some builds in products. What we have differently right now is that we have a pretty robust export business. So the draw last night was a surprise. They were looking for a build in the APIs, and that's what took the market higher. And today they're looking for a 500,000 barrel build in crude, and I don't know what it is in products. So today is, we expect a 40 tick trading range. Numbers hit. See what we get. We'll talk the Newsday trade. We'll show you what it looks like on crude oil. Good for 10 to 20 ticks. Most people wait for the dust to settle and come in. The best trade on the EIA numbers release is a buy stop. Negative news, market trades down. A buy stop over the top of the news bar. That catches people on the wrong side of the market because of fundamentals, and it can produce very, very big trades. And that's a bread and butter trade for us. The Emini is headed higher. Looking at Scott's volume numbers, we've got a market at 25, market number at 25. That happens to be one of the numbers. We've got the low volume number up here is 46. 47 happens to be one of those volume numbers. 37 happens to be one of those volume numbers. Just looking at the profile right here, the structure, and this is only for 30 days. 31, 40. So we've got basically 25 to 30, 37 to 40, 46 to 50 is where resistance is on the way up. The attractor is at 27.20 right here. So the first trade, there's no news today, is a 19 to 24 fade. Sell 1, like the long side best, 29 to 34 for sell 2. On the buy side, 6 to 11. And then 96 to 01. We're going to be in the same situation. Run it up in Globex. Take the weak length out. Drive it down on the opening of the day session. Find support. Take it up. And then if we can get through the Globex high right here, the market should trade up. So there's going to be resistance at 20 to 25 as we start out. And we might have us a good sell. Couple of bars before the day session opens. The trade though is from the long side to retest the Globex high. Okay, it's going to take a bit to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on that. Back with you as soon as possible.